pantyhose on?
In a costume once.
Yes.
Well, but that was only for
not,
a few hours.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me. But I suppose if it was a hot day.
Well, when I was a television reporter, I wore pantyhose every day, and you would be out in weather like this, and you wanted to die. I know,
exactly.
you wanted to die. And I know, what was it? On that 4802 show on QED, I was on that a few weeks ago, and it was a hot day, and I had properly.
Yeah, see, you were a real lady.
Properly, I had hose on. I had hose on.
Oh, the handsome man has left the room. Oh, he might be back good. Woo!
He is so excited. He is gorgeous, isn't he? He's just
but no, didn't they ever?
Gorgeous.
I can't believe we were talking about this, but didn't they ever have breathable hose?
No, they don't breathe. I mean, they don't breathe. And all I want to tell you is the woman sitting next to me, also on the show, said, "Oh my God, you're wearing nylons," or whatever she said. And I said, "Well, yeah." And she said, "No one wears them anymore." And so she was on me for wearing them.
Well, I just think
in the summer,
a proper lady wears hose for formal things like being on TV. So you are a proper lady.
Yes, I am.
Sometimes.
Well, we're both old. We're both old. We're old.
But there's no hose business. That's only really, I'd say, in the last 10 years, maybe even less.
Well, if I ruled the world, I would tell all men today,
put on pantyhose.
No tie.
Yeah, right.
But unbutton your shirt and take the jacket off. Well, that's
it's fine brutal. If you're, in the office and it's cool. But if you're all, buttoned up and then you're sweating and your collar is dirty, whatever, that doesn't look so wonderful. I'd rather have someone who looks cool and will be fresh.
And then you look at pictures of from Forbes Field where the Pirates used to play back in the day. And men would come to those games.
Oh, yeah, sure. People are more fun.
All buttoned up and sit there in the bleachers with the sun coming.
Ladies used to have hats and gloves. And a veil, and like a net or whatever you call them.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And there's something nice about that.
There's something nice about it, and it's certainly in some ways better than seeing these half-naked people wandering
I know,
around.
and their pants falling down, and their underwear showing, and
their muffin tops.
Muffin tops. What are they called?
Is that what that's called?
Oh yeah.
I thought they were called halters.
No.
Oh,
muffin top is this bulge of fat.
The actual. Oh, I see. Yeah, exactly.
And some women wear them, and they just show
when you're
walking around.
Aren't you looking in a mirror? But that's a funny thing. To go back to China briefly, I was saying to this young boy who was taking me around, 25, and I said, one of the interesting things, it's refreshing. Two things. One, how young the average population is in China.
Yeah.
One, and two, I said, from what I see, at least in the cities, people are eating, they're not, starving. But I said, you come to America, and I said, everyone in America's fat. And he said, oh, no. So we were he took me to the airport, and I kept saying, American, fat. And the Chinese all look,
but the Chinese are starting to have an obesity problem.
I'm sure.
Especially, obviously, among the wealthy.
Because they're not walking
their children,
so much
and their children are starting to look
I said
like
that.
Americans.
I said, it's interesting. And I knew this more about Japan than China, but somewhat similar. But generally one would say, they're shorter. But now, just like Americans, it's partly because, I'm sure it's an evolutionary thing, but also all these foods have these built-in things. And so I saw a lot of 6-foot tall guys in China. Yeah. But this was another.
Wait a minute, stop.
Yes. What?
Yes, you are just such a motor mouth.
Yeah, really.
Okay, is the word voluble? VOLUBLE.
Yes.
What does it mean?
Sort of excitable and something that's
talkative?
Well, it could be, but something that sort of can just open up. I think at least that's how I would say it.
Hey, Jess, look up VOLUBLE. Thank you very much.
Oh, but one
because I think you are today.
Oh, maybe. Well, maybe.
You are very. You're like somebody who has just snorted about an ounce of cocaine.
Incessantly and fluently.
What did you say?
Speaking incessantly.
Oh, well, then you were absolutely right.
Speaking incessantly
and fluently. All right. Well, that's usually me, but more.
That's
so
voluble, and you're extraordinarily voluble today, which is fine because I'm not feeling.
As they say. Okay. Well, I'm taking over for your volubility.
That's correct.
But not for your voluble.
Okay, we have to take a break.
And then we'll talk about children and how they learn.
I'm going to give you guys a break from this. But the minute I take a break, he'll still be talking to me. And you can join us in just a minute or so.
But you won't get a word in it.
With Lynn Cullen live after this.
This week's Pittsburgh City Paper is available now. Pick up one today for an interview with Bill Peduto, plus Weird Al Yankovic, Pitbull, Kesha, Kendrick Lamar, and Brad Paisley. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com and on your smartphone with GPS-enabled listings at citypapermobile.com.
Check out my new time machine.
Does it work?
Hit the button.
Hey, it's Napoleon.
Oui. Check out the future.
Hey, you have a nice house. Why don't I?
You didn't save any money, buddy.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and fix that.
Yeah.
Save something for the future. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
Her parents have a place there, so they go up.
Okay. Should we talk about any news?
Well, I thought, no. One of the news things, and this isn't like political news, but I thought this was very interesting. There was something in the Times or the local paper, I don't remember, that was a study that had been done, I think, across the country. And it found out that almost in every situation, in general sort of public schools, we're not talking about prep schools and that, but I can't believe it's any different, that teachers were more effective, and hence the students responded in like manner in teaching mathematics because it was all about numbers. It was very factual. It wasn't a very interpretive. So that once you learned your multiplication tables or, whatever, inverted this, that, and the others, you could do it. And some people could be very good. People could do Sudoku, which I don't even understand it. Whereas they weren't as successful at teaching reading. I mean, it goes back to just basic reading because reading, as this study suggested, requires a lot of contextual things. Like if someone says, oh, he's as wise as Moses, we have to know who the hell Moses was is part of this story. Oh, the grandfather was as wise as Moses, and then goes on. And if kids have never been taught the Bible or, nursery rhymes or know who the third president of the United States was.
Or they come from a home in which there's very little verbal
they said that, especially with poverty-stricken families, whatever. And therefore, children really are now sometimes 2-3 grades below what would have been a normative level of reading, certainly in our day, but even up until the 80s. And so that's really sad because all of these testing programs that were put in under Bush with all of these, New York, they used to call them Regents exams, end of the year exams where they can grade you across the whole country.
Yeah.
They're taking out less and less, arts, music, etc., which is all that
because they're just trying to make sure that, right.
And because what they want is these kids who can, do a computer for their jobs. But, it's very funny. I remember not long ago, where was I? I think it was at McDonald's or someplace like that, and went to buy a hamburger. And
wait, is this in Hong Kong?
No, Pittsburgh. No, this was in Pittsburgh a year or two ago.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't fill in the commas. And the computer had gone fatutzt. So this kid couldn't make change.
Oh, yeah.
So finally, this older woman who was the manageress came up and she said, "Oh, I'll $4.95 and you give me a 10." But this kid, where they were just pushing the button.
I know that's true.
And or sometimes you see people, even when it does work, counting out the change like they were doing some algorithm.
I know.
It's very depressing. And this goes back to what we talked about, I think, a few shows back, where people now don't know how to write cursively anymore.
No.
So you put that all together.
And it's not going to be taught. It'll be an elective.
Right.
So, what's to become of us?
Well, it's not.
Hey, what'd you think of Peduto getting elected?
Oh, I was very pleased.
And I mean, he really got elected.
I didn't see the numbers. Someone sent me
let me
an email.
tell you. So there's 4 people in the race. He got more votes than all 3 combined.
Wow, combined. But then the cab driver told me last night that, and I wasn't surprised by this, that only 21% of the electorate voted.
That's the norm.
Well,
that's the norm
primary,
in a primary.
Yeah. But that's
and, that's disgusting.
I mean, I'm glad he won.
Yeah, but hey, listen. To those who vote, go the spoil. I mean, if you can't, that's what it's about.
Well, it's interesting. I had an argument with the cab driver at midnight.
This poor cab driver.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't spinning so well last night. No, but I was saying, I know this is a fact in Australia, but I'm sure it's true in other places. If you don't vote in any election, whether it's local or statewide or national, you are fined something like $250. Yeah. And I think, and he said, well, but the American, I said, no, it is not an honor to vote, a privilege. It is your duty as a citizen to vote.
Okay, but you can argue. You can argue that. Do you want all these people going to the polls under penalty of, fines, who don't know a damn thing about it? They're going to go in there and just go blah, blah, blah.
Well, but then I would say, I say what you should have is you can go in, because I think you should go, even if it's under, enforcement, and then you can put choose no candidate. But you have to go in, and if you want to be neutral, well, because then it's sort of like the beginnings of our country when only, the elite voted. Do we want that?
No, but it's not only the elite vote. Everybody has the right to.
Right.
And you can exercise it or not. I think I think there should be mandatory, not voting, but mandatory service of some sort.
You mean like a Peace Corps or that? What was that thing? Educate America or whatever.
Vista,
all these things.
Whatever.
Yeah,
I think there should be at least 1 year, probably between high school and college, where every single person has got to do something for the country.
For the nation,
and, that'll never go through.
No,
because, again, we're a free people, and you can't make us do anything.
Right,
but this is what drives me crazy. The people who say that want all the freedom, and they don't want to do anything to deserve it.
Well, it's very funny. I was talking with my guide in mainland China, and that's what I was saying. I said, because we're based on this sense of, the individual, go west, young man, and find your future, Damon Runyon, and so therefore, when the country, well, it's like, the present stall up in government, no one's thinking about the country. Everyone's thinking about their piece of the pie, whether it's for re-election or the Tea Party people or what have you. No one is thinking about what the country needs. And when you step back and say, not that you become selfless, because one's not a monk, but need to say, if the country needs something, you try to give back as best you can.
Exactly. But see, that's a value. That is something that you're taught somewhere.
Yes.
And I think I got that. I got taught that, I think, in 2 places. I was taught that by my parents.
Your family. Mm-hmm.
And I was taught that in civics class.
Yeah, right.
They don't have civics class anymore.
Right.
And I would hazard to guess that the vast majority of parents today, since they don't vote, don't do anything of a communal nature, that this is not being passed on.
The cab driver and I were both above 50. And I said to him, well, I knew I was not going to be, so I did an absentee ballot. It wasn't a big deal. I got it. I mailed it. It took, 3 minutes of calling them up, sending it, filling it out. But if that is all I have to do to decide who I want to run our city, I think that's a damn small impediment to have to engage in. And, someone could say, oh, you don't have 10 children, whatever. Hey, the polls are open from 6 a.m. till 8 p.m.
And
put the baby in the stroller and go. And there's absentee ballots. I mean, come on.
Right. I would agree.
But I do think the reason I said about the 50 is it's very interesting. I am spinning, but anyway, that usually it is really true. I know at my polling place, but that's maybe potential because it's downtown. The average age of the voters is
much older.
Oh yeah. Now that's partly the city, but still.
No, I think the people who vote downtown are probably a pretty young cohort now because that's who's living downtown. Younger people,
well, maybe that's true.
more and
Not
more younger people.
Well, yeah. But I bet it's older than Shady Side or someplace like that. I don't know, maybe.
Maybe not. But I mean, you do. Here's what I wonder. What do the poll workers look like where you vote?
Oh, my God. They're 170.
Right, exactly.
Helen, when are the donuts coming?
So here's what I want to know. Who's going to do that?
Oh, that's it. Well, they pay them like $30 a day.
Oh, that's not going to get anybody there.
No, of course not.
Who's going to man the polls?
Yeah.
In another 10 years. Who's going to be there?
I remember when I first went to vote. This would have been...
I suppose I'll have to.
1968 or something like that. And I went with my mother to vote. And I remember Helen Barnash, who was this old cow, because her husband had been he was like an underling of one of the city council people, as my father used to say. What was his? Al Barnash couldn't get you yesterday's newspaper. I mean, that's how important he was. But anyway, and this woman was saying, "Oh, a new voter. Oh, should we tell him?" Oh. And my mother said, "Helen, he knows more about elections than you ever will."
Your mother sounds like
she was this woman was a total windbag. And she had this thing, but she didn't know shit from Shinola, you know. But I think that's partly $30, and these people have nothing better to do. And, God love them, but they get your names wrong.
Well, I don't know. I just...
And heaven forbid if they live in a place where all of a sudden someone whose name is like Trang Min or some Latin name. Oh, my God.
Well, speaking of that, this is something I've noticed. Do you read ever the deed transfers in the paper?
No.
Well,
that was her first outburst. She's getting better.
I'm just trying. Yeah, I read all the fine print stuff. I read the obits. I read the deed transfers. That's where you find out who buys what. Who bought what? If you sell a house.
Yeah.
I just look in my neighborhood, and I don't always do it.
Sure.
I don't always, but I sometimes do. And what I've been noticing, if you look in the 14th ward, that's the ward, by the way. Yeah, that is the ward that had the hugest turnout for this mayoral election. That's that East End. That's Squirrel Hill, Point Breeze.
Well, that was also Bill's major, bedrock.
That's
so
right.
They came out to really support him.
Well, Wagner didn't get the same from his.
No, I know, but I'm saying, because I think they saw that if they didn't go out to support him,
that was the
no
sense.
one was going to.
But that's not true because it turns out Peduto did well all over the place. Yeah. So, and he did well with old people, young people, this people, that. He really did.
Well, I think what was to me before I left.
We actually have a call. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, I got to get away from my computer because I can't figure out how to turn off the sound.
Okay. Oh, jeez.
Wait one cotton picking minute about people who work at the polls.
All right.
Wait one cotton picking minute. Gee whiz.
Good for you.
I take off work to work at the polls.
Do you?
Now I own my own business, so it doesn't matter all that much. But I used to work at the city, and they docked my pay. Before that, I worked at many other places, and they docked my pay, and that was fine. When I was an underling, I made $105 a day. Now that I am I'm a judge of elections, I make something like $130 a day.
Whoa. Well, that's
I
better,
know, big deal. But my day, now that I'm the judge of elections, I get there at 5:30 in the morning and make sure that everything is ready for everybody to come and set up. I've got a wonderful board. I have another woman who works for herself in PR. I have a woman who is a college professor. Her husband is a college professor.
What's the average age?
let's see, I'm 55, and I'm the youngest.
You're 65?
And I think they're in their early 60s.
Well, that's pretty young, actually.
And I have to say, we were being funny and making, not wishing to insult, but I have to say,
but just to give you an idea of what I've seen, and also where I go to vote, which is not where I work.
Yeah.
Those women all work. The judge of elections
that may be
is retired.
I just wanted to interrupt and say, my experience has been, this is Chicago, Minneapolis, New York City for many years, and now years here. I have to say, what you're saying, it sounds wonderful, and I really highly respect you for taking off work and being docked pay, etc. But that is not true. Most of the people are ancient and are really...
They're older women.
Yeah, and
who's
not
do
really
it?
Sometimes able to do the job at hand. And I don't insult them to say, these old bags, but they really sometimes cannot really do what is required.
Well, I haven't seen that.
We're really trying to change that over.
Who's going to do it in 10, 15 years? Who's going to do it?
I don't know, but I one thing that I've done once or twice at least, I've written a letter to the editor in the Post-Gazette and said, we do need more people. We need younger people. Mm-hmm. And it's a nice day. It may be a long day, but it's a nice day. And you do get paid. It's not $25 anymore. It's more than that.
That's great. Well, that's really
And you get to meet your neighbors. You get to make new friends. You can trade recipes. You can't talk politics. But there are lots of other things you can talk about.
Yeah, sure.
And we do.
Okay.
But when there are no voters in the room, we talk politics amongst ourselves,
mm-hmm.
And you feel like you're watching the democratic process in action,
mm-hmm.
and here you are making it happen.
Well, see, I understand that, and you must feel great doing it. That's one of those volunteer things, and it's not totally volunteer, I guess, but that's one of those things you do that you feel very much a part of something wondrous and huge and amazing. But I do wonder, and I worry about the future. I
worry about that, too, because I know of some polling places. When I lived in Greenfield, I think there was only one or two people who were around my age, but most of the other people were... grandmothers long retired, and as they were going through the box of cards, I'd say, "Oh no, don't pass that one. It's mine."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know what?
Pull that one out.
You know what'll end up having to happen, and will happen anyway. We're not going to have to go out to vote. We're going to vote online.
Or online, right? Exactly.
We're going to vote online.
In some states, they do now.
They do. Do now. And so somehow, as soon as people can be assured that is,
they can keep it
that it's honest and not tamperable,
right.
Then I think that's how they're going to get around the fact that people are not going to be stepping up to do what you and all those other wonderful citizens have done.
Well, if I may, what's concomitant with this, and more important in a sense, not that voting is not important, but it's the same sort of thing of how many people, except often retirees, because they have the time, want to serve on jury, whether it's grand jury or regular jury. I mean, I've been in New York. I've never been called here, but in New York many times. And, people come up and they all have these stories. It's one thing if you really have a lot of little children or someone very sick at home. But I'm a stockbroker and I can't take the day off. Well, damn it, too bad.
No, but that's everywhere. That's universal.
No, I know. But the point is, do you want to be in a position where you're brought before a trial where you can't get a jury of sentient people? And so if we don't agree to do these sorts of things for ourselves, really, as well as for our country, then when we come to be found, we're going to be found wanting.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for your call.
And congratulations for what you do.
Yes, and thank you.
Yeah, I've been doing it for 15 years, and I love it.
Good for you. Good for you. Okay, we got to get another break in, and we'll be right back.
No, she was really
wonderful. On the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Go to bergbargains.com for great deals on gift cards from your favorite local restaurants, bars, museums, attractions, and shows. This week, great deals on Go 8 vouchers, Sauce and Saga. Supplies are limited. BergBargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains. BergBargains.com.
It's warming up outside, so get to Little's for all your spring needs. Little's has everything for men, women, and children to stay in style for this upcoming hot summer. Lots of great colors from Dansko, New Balance, Steve Madden, and much, much more. Don't forget to come visit this season's colorful handbag selection as well. Little Shoes, Pittsburgh's largest family shoe store, 5850 Forbes Avenue in Squirrel Hill.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Your punt.
Okay, we are back. Jess, I was going.
You might be looking at your old one that we took down.
Okay, we have somebody who's saying that my Facebook page is down, and Jess says it is not. Are you looking at the old one? Well, what's the difference between the old one and the new one? Is it the same?
Facebook.com/Lynn Cullen Live.
Facebook.com/Lynn Cullen Live.
Yeah.
That's, see, I don't even know that.
That's the current new one.
Facebook.com/Lynn Cullen Live is up there and has been. And people.
But Lynn is no has been.
No, okay. Oh, I don't know about that.
Nora once was.
Oh, man.
You are all and everywhere.
But I was going to say, I believe that since I wasn't in yesterday and you missed Chris Potter, that Chris will be doing the show tomorrow? Jess?
Yeah, I think so.
We think so.
I haven't heard back from him yet.
Okay.
But I told him yesterday that.
Okay, we're relatively sure that Chris will be on tomorrow. And if you haven't read his interview with Bill Peduto, it's a great one.
It's in this.
Yeah, it's in the issue of City Paper. However, if you go to his blog, you can get the unedited, as he calls it, the director's cut, the unedited version, which has absolutely everything on it, and it's very interesting. I found it very interesting. Well, excuse me. Since Tom and I have spent quite a bit of time in airports of late, I don't know if you saw this little item. This is unbelievable. So TSA officers, Transportation Safety Administration, this week, well, I guess last week, because this week we're in it. Last week, confiscated a record 65 firearms on passengers who were boarding planes. Now, that's bad enough, right? 65. This was a record for them. This beats the previous record of 50. So
in a week.
In a week. There's a huge increase. Look at 65 people getting on airplane, or trying to, with firearms. And get this. First of all, anyone who would try to do that is an idiot.
Right.
Right?
I have to worry if I have too much astringent.
I know, exactly.
Let alone
oh, my God, do I have 4.5 ounces?
Yeah, right.
So I'm worrying about that. You're worrying about that. That's what we're worrying about. These idiots, who, of course, have guns, because any idiot can have a gun in this country, are packing, literally.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
packing heat.
Packing heat.
And they send it through the
and of course it shows up, yeah.
And of course it shows up. Although some won't. They can now make these plastic guns, right? So those won't show.
No.
So here's the other part that's just unsettling about this.
Well, now what happens if they find that? Well, no, you're not doing something illegal. Well, you are.
No. They confiscate them.
Yeah.
They're
but I mean, the people can't be. Because
the
people
are detained. No. The people are detained, I believe, once you are found with that.
Why are they bringing it?
And then they're questioned, and who knows, they might miss their flight as a result of that. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure that they're, in any way fined or.
Well, because I guess you have a permit to carry it, then you do.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Have a right.
54. Okay, we've got 65 guns. 54 of the guns were loaded.
So if their bag bounced or something, it could shoot someone's foot off.
54 of the 65 guns were loaded, and
Yes.
Get this, 19 of those had rounds in the chamber. So in other words, those were ones
10.
ready to go. No,
Yeah,
those were ready to go. And that was at the TSA. That is unsettling.
Of course it's unsettling. It's horrendous. You know, not exactly on this, but connected. It was funny. I was coming back from China and wondering, you know, what's been going on, etc. And I said something to someone. They said, "What?" And which was, I made a joke about the Tsarnaev, or is that the way the remember the two guys? And this person didn't know what I was saying, and I thought, Warhol's 15 Minutes of Fame. You know, for 3 weeks, all we heard was Drakkar and whatever the other one's name was. Now, who's talking about Tsarnaev? Isn't it amazing? I mean, people just flow in and out.
Here's the thing,
and
though.
here's like your thing, 65 guns, so who cares about the Tsarnaevs anymore? It's just, it's the way of the world.
I have to tell you the thing, excuse me, the thing that really I'm unsettled about, and it's in regard to that story, the Tsarnaevs. And I don't know if you're aware, because I think this happened while you were overseas. The FBI was interrogating someone in Florida who knew the older brother, who is also from Chechnya. And in the process of interviewing this guy who has never been in trouble with the law, there's not his immigration status is fine, there's nothing wrong with this guy. His crime was he's from Chechnya and he knew the older brother.
Guilty by association, so to speak.
I guess. So they're interrogating him, and he ends up getting shot. He's dead.
By whom?
Well,
the police.
Well, it's
or FBI or whatever.
Well, here's the thing. It is so. If you if you look at this story, there have been more different accounts put out by anonymous sources, a spokesman who did not want to of what happened that caused this guy to be dead. And
wait, you mean this guy who was
who hadn't done anything? He's dead.
Wow.
And here's what
so
we
just
wait
clarify.
a minute, here's what we know.
He was shot while he was in custody.
He was shot while he was being interrogated, I believe, in a hotel room. Okay? Or in his apartment. They were in a room. And here is what I understand. There were minimally 2 FBI agents with him. There were also other officers of some sort, maybe local police, who knows what. At one point, it sounded like there were about 7 or 8 people in the room, and this guy. Now, various accounts are that some of those people then left. However, there were 2, and then somebody said, well, this guy all of a sudden lunged with a knife at one of the FBI guys. That story is one story that the FBI put out. Another story is that he lunged and tried to get the gun of the FBI agent. Another story is that all of them had left the room, leaving him alone with just one FBI agent. And this, anytime you end up with
45 stories.
45 stories.
Rashomon.
You know something.
Something's cuckoo.
Something. There is no excuse. He was unarmed.
Right.
It's known now, unarmed.
So no knife.
One guy, and minimally 2, or let's say we'll even go with all of a sudden there's just 1, armed, and he ends up dead. And the FBI is not coming out with an account, and all I can say is, to me, this is such an outrage. There is no excuse why that young man is dead. There is no excuse.
Because it was so clear.
Accused of nothing.
They could have said, he did lunge with a knife, and then and it was quick, so maybe we should have shot him in the leg, or we shot him in the chest, whatever. But it does, it's something rotten in Denmark,
Something truly. There's either incredible incompetence, or it's one of two things, as far as I can tell.
Conspiracy.
Incredible incompetence, or what? Yeah, or something very
and also
weird.
From the conspiracy, in inverted commas. If you're trying to figure out that he engaged this guy and got him to be rabid, what have you, then isn't that good to come out so we know how they became so
And I have to tell you, I haven't seen a lot on this. I'm not.
Well, isn't it funny?
There's nothing in there. So why isn't that a big? To me, that's a big story. I don't
agree completely.
I don't like some person being queried by the authority. This is the kind of thing you hear in, some godforsaken country. Oh, he died while in detention.
Yes, right, exactly.
Oh, he,
Well, it
we're
reminds
not supposed
me
to have that
from
kind
our
of thing
generation, when, out of the blue, so to speak, Jack Ruby comes and shoots Lee Harvey Oswald, to silence him. Who we'll never know, but that always seemed like ooh. And then Jack Ruby dies of. I always remember when that stuff used to come out. I can't remember what was the man's name. Do you remember Mark something or other who wrote all those conspiracy books? But I remember. But it was so funny when they looked back. It was like this one died of cancer 2 months later, and that one died. There was no one left. But what's? Oh, someone's calling.
Okay.
Maybe it's Jack Ruby.
Hello.
Jack Ruby. Hey, so here's the problem, is that I brought a Memorial Day party to a screeching halt this weekend because I called someone on the carpet for saying the Boston bombings were done by our government.
Oh,
yeah, right.
God.
So, but here's the problem. So I do that, and then things like this story you're talking about pop up.
Then you sort of say, was it right?
Well,
I have no question that the Boston bombings were done by those two knuckleheads.
That's our knaves, yeah.
But
so you're,
and here's the worst part about it is, so I hear this guy going on and on. The Boston bombings were done by our government. They're building camps to house FEMA camps to house citizens.
Right.
The lockdown of the little city, the city, Boston. What was the smaller town?
That suburb, whatever it was called.
Yeah. That was a trial test for martial law.
Oh my God!
Now this is not offhanded remarks. This is somebody who believes this.
Yeah, sure.
And is.
But he's
prophesizing about it.
Well, but he's listening. Do you know how many radio shows and cable shows and stuff on the internet is feeding this stuff to millions of Americans who are buying it?
Yeah. Oh, sure, and I mean that is exactly, you're exactly right. That's where he's getting from. That's what I told him. But then this story happens.
Yeah, right.
Well, I agree. This story is unsettling to me. And what's unsettling is they can't tell us what happened.
Yeah, right.
And I mean,
that's
so bungling.
Yeah,
that's so bungling. If in fact some idiot got scared, one of these FBI agents, and felt threatened for whatever reason and just plugged the guy, okay, but that even seems odd.
Yeah.
Or he lost his weapon and he broke protocol, or the person broke protocol and lost their weapon.
People are vulnerable and people are frail.
But so and the worst, and one of the other bad things about it is we went on and on. I was giving this guy rational arguments about why he was so wrong, and he said, "You know nothing about me." And I said, "Well, I can tell you this: I know you're a dick." And unfortunately, as wacko as this person's comments were, people remember me saying,
"Oh, you're the bad guy."
I'm the bad guy. And I actually had people say to me after the party kind of broke up that everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Wow.
Yeah, you're entitled to your opinion, but that is pushing the opinion. You're entitled to your own opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts, and you're not entitled to run your mouth about facts which are completely false. And that's pushing the "you're entitled to your opinion" thing a little bit far, don't you?
Absolutely right.
Wouldn't you agree? So, okay, guys.
Okay, well, geez, bye.
Yeah,
wow.
Thanks a lot. Well, it's interesting. I mean, that's why I always believe, and in these recent, the last 6 months, more than a year, I really believe, and I'm going to stand in my volubility of this morning, thank God for whistleblowers. We must stop the leaks and all that. Well, I think sometimes it's really good. I mean, we're talking about, myths that bring up. But I think, sometimes government has this sense, and just having been to China, as we've been talking this morning, government knows best.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think we should know. And if government is doing all sorts of tests and scientific experiments, I think it's not uninteresting, science fiction notwithstanding, that what we found since 1984 is constantly this business of government trying out things and then going dystopian. It's not uninteresting that is the core when you go to the movies. And you see, 150 trailers before you see the feature film. They're always about, some bad guy up there was creating a virus, and then the virus got out. Or, something or other, and the machines are going to... And to a certain extent, I'm sure. Well, why does this all have to be so goddamn covert?
Well, okay. I mean, you bring up, with no time left, two very interesting other subjects. One, you said virus. And, there's a virus on the loose that the World Health Organization is extreme. Why are you looking at me?
Virus.
Not the one you two have, I don't think. You're both alive.
You don't know about it?
It was chicken
You
virus,
don't want to know.
It?
No,
Avian.
it's one of those scary things. It's
I thought there was connected.
Well, shut up!
Oh, it is avian.
It is avian. The one from that first surfaced in Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
Wrong. That's not a chicken one.
I thought it was.
I don't think. Anyway, they're worried about it.
Yeah, no, I did read that.
Because it's extremely lethal. There's only, something like 40-some cases known, 30-some deaths. There's been a death in France now.
Oh, really? Wow.
And the head of the World Health Organization has put out a all-point bulletin to all nations. This is something we have got to jump on right now because they don't know what this one is.
Well, what was interesting is every country I was in, Hong Kong and the mainland China, and even us when I got back, if you see someone sneezing or something, or in Asia, they have these things where you walk through a gate, like a metal detector, and it reads your temperature.
Yes,
and if your temperature is, they pull you in.
They don't.
But it's very interesting. Again, not
subway,
to be back on my trip, but there was a very interesting show at an alternative space. This is very quick. No, wait. This is. Oh, all right. This part, but I finished.
Oh,
wait.
God's
And it
sake.
was called Parasite. But anyway, and it was about 2003, which you and your listeners will remember was the time when SARS came out, and Hong Kong was the center, and it brought back all this stuff. And I remember one guy I knew, his mother in Pittsburgh, he had to be in a hospital in in Canada because we wouldn't live back in the country, and so that was the last time we had one of these viral. Well, that was really serious.
This is one has been sort of in the news and. It's getting more so, and I'm just saying I have been reluctant to talk about it because it's scary. And
right.
I have to admit I'm starting to keep my eye open on it. So you said virus, I want to say that, and also you said something about whistleblowers, and I want to get into that a little more, but we can't do it now because there's whistleblowers and then there's just jerks who are letting out information that does in fact harm national security, and we've got to be able to make some distinctions. Jess has not been well. She's got to get to a doctor. We're all sick as dogs. This one is out of his mind with jet lag.
No, I'm not.
And thank you if you stayed with us. You go to bed.
Or as they say in China,
yeah, somebody. Whatever,
thank you.
Whatever. And I believe that we'll have Chris Potter with us tomorrow.
Bye.
Did you hear my elbow crack? Oh, gee.
You be old.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.